Good day, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the Voice of Reason. So, the title of this video is again another lesson in insanity. And on my map, you will see a suburb of Denver, Colorado, the city of Lakewood, Colorado, nestled near the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. And specifically, the map will show you an intersection. And to the northwest of this intersection is a strip mall. And inside of this strip mall is a very small bakery, a mom and pop bakery store run by a guy by the name of Jack Phillips. And if you've heard about this story, I can understand it did make some media news, as well as all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. So about 10 years ago, uh, Jack Phillips, again, had created a business in which he baked cakes. And he had has a great skill in terms of artistic design of these cakes. So many people would come to Jack Phillips Bakery requesting a design for a birthday, maybe a marriage, maybe a significant event. And Jack would lovingly bake these cakes and with his own hands make the designs on top of the cake. So if you had a birthday, happy birthday, Tom, with whatever design you wished on said cake. Now, Jack Phillips is a deeply, deeply religious man, and he would bake a cake for anyone, with the exception of two reasons. The first reason is he would not bake cakes celebrating any sort of satanic or devil type of worship. Again, being a deeply religious man who had identified as a Christian. Here I go. I just said identified. I'm going to hit myself now. He's a Christian. And the second type of cake that he would not make is in regards to certain marriages. Now, Jack Phillips believes that a marriage is between a man and a woman, and that's his right. That's his religious right to believe that. And the other cake that he would not do would be a specific marriage cake identifying a man and a man or a woman and a woman. Any sort of same-sex wedding cakes that he would not do. He would do any other cake. So if a homosexual couple arrived at Jack Phillips Bakery and they wanted a cake, and you could clearly see that the two were homosexuals and identified as a homosexual, he would make them any cake that they wanted, with the exception of a satanic cake or a cake that specified a same-sex marriage. He would say congratulations on your partnership or anything like that, but he would not specify marriage. But again, he would bake them any cake that they wanted, with the exception of something that specified marriage between two same sexes, and that was his religious belief. Well, at the time, two males entered Jack Phillips Bakery and at some point requested a cake that specified same-sex marriage, meaning Tom and Bill and it specified that it was a marriage, not a congratulations or anything like that, but marriage. And he said it was against his religious belief and he could not do that. So those two departed the bake store, and then a few days later, another homosexual couple entered the store requesting a marriage cake, a very marriage-specific cake. And again, Jack Phillips said, yes, I'll bake you any cake that you want, except I cannot do satanic or devil type of cakes, and I cannot specifically say this is a marriage between you two. I'll bake you any other cake with the exception of that because it is against my religious belief. I'm sorry. And these two gentlemen became very hostile. They began to use foul language towards Jack Phillips and cause a disturbance inside of the bakery. And they departed. But they didn't leave it at that. These two gentlemen decided to go to the state of Colorado, led at the time by John Hickenlooper, a leftist governor. And John Hickenlooper had created a civil rights commission on businesses. A civil rights commission on businesses. And what makes this civil rights commission interesting is these roles were not elected. They were appointed by Mr. John Hickenlooper, who appointed, obviously, very leftist individuals to serve on this business civil rights commission. And to make a long story short, the Civil Rights Commission investigated the allegation of the two homosexual men that demanded Jack Phillips bake them their homosexual marriage cake. And they proceeded to take Jack Phillips through administrative law hearings, which Jack Phillips initially lost. Jack Phillips was then required to retrain his staff in political correct thought of serving everybody, to include devil cakes, satanic cakes, and of course the homosexual marriage cakes as well. And Jack Phillips proceeded to get help, to get legal help. And this process lasted the better part of a decade until it finally reached the United States Supreme Court. And the United States Supreme Court indeed said that the Colorado Civil Rights Commission, right, the Civil Rights Commission, where were Jack Phillips' civil rights? Where was his? There were 67 other bakeries in the metro area of Denver, Colorado. 67 bakeries that would have created a same-sex wedding cake. But they decided to make an example of this small bakery. Just a few people working inside of it. Not a mega bakery, not a franchise bakery. Just a small mom and pop bakery. Him, his daughter, his mom, and a couple of employees were then set upon by the state of Colorado, under the guise of cultural Marxism, under the guise of social technocratic authoritarianism, they persecuted Jack Phillips. And he has had to spend great sums of money defending himself. And he's at one point thought probably many times about actually closing the bake shop. But again, another lesson in insanity that is going on inside of the United States. The amount of resources, the amount of hostility that this has created by attacking one man and his religious belief, in which he simply did not want to bake a homosexual wedding cake. So why pursue this? Why the state of Colorado, this Marxist Civil Rights Commission? Why go after him? Well, they wanted to set an example. They wanted to make an example. They wanted to create fear. So if there was another business that did something contrary to the thought police that are inside of this Civil Rights Commission, well, they would probably think twice and just adhere to their rules. But again, another lesson in insanity. Where are we heading? It's kind of scary. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.